Audience, welcome once again to another episode of Way of the Warrior. My name is Trevor Martin, and I'm the founder of RMF Coaching. And as you know, one of the things that I enjoy doing is going out to social media and finding warriors that are focused on promoting goodness out into this dark world. And we know that sometimes those warriors, we're desperately looking for them and hoping that they step up, with certain action and with certain focus in different areas. One of those is coaching and helping other individuals grow and showing them the way in different areas of life. So it just so happens that I found another warrior out there, and Andrea Singsaas, and I'm so glad that I did not murder the last name. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks. I'm so glad to be here.
Now, Andrea, we have had, Andrea is actually not too far from me, and we've actually been able to have a couple in-person meetings. And one of the things I want to say is I really, really appreciate, as we get this started, right? I really appreciate your tenacity and your dedication to your family, specifically your children. And I think that, through some of the conversations that we've had, and I know that you'll take us, through your journey, but, as a parent, myself, that warrior mentality, right? Putting on the face, getting ready for the daily battles, knowing what it takes from you to make them successful, that
Mhm.
right there, like, to me, that is a massive mark of being a warrior and what it takes in today's society to be successful and to get, set up our future generations for success. So as we get started, I'm going to ask you, talk a little bit about what it is that you do, what you do currently, and then we'll rewind and kind of go back to how you got to where you're at right now.
Absolutely. So currently, I'm the owner of the Time Group. It's primarily executive coaching, and I also do some speaking. A lot is leadership development for all different kinds of people, but primarily, I'm helping women who look a lot like me, who've had high level executive jobs, or they're hoping to get to that place or space, and they feel stuck, they feel overwhelmed, they're trying to balance in a season that there is no balance.
Mm,
And it's very interesting and very rewarding to partner with these people to help find and achieve those goals that are really things that they truly want, but
yeah.
have a hard time doing alongside parenting or alongside their family, or trying to find uh, that even pace
Yeah.
between the two
That
worlds.
balance. Yeah. Yeah. And we can, we've talked about this too, right? That there's total relatability there. Trying to find that balance between your everyday life, right?
Mhm.
What the comings and the goings, and then setting yourself up for ultimate career success, advancement, right? Other trying to prepare for other opportunities, not knowing what doors are going to open, but constantly in the background is life. How
Everything else.
everything right,
All the
right.
tabs are open and they're running
Yes.
all the time. And
Right.
it's been very interesting to see some of the shift and some of the language around um, being at home with kids, going back, pivoting into work, pivoting to different careers, but
Mm,
then still having the lion's share of the work at home. I also work with a lot of um, default parents or moms who may be coupled, but they're technically kind of like single moms, or the she-fault parent. So it's been really interesting to see that world open up too.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so you're able to play an intricate part in supporting those individuals and
Mhm.
helping them work towards advancement and setting them up for success in their own specific niches or careers.
Absolutely. And it's sometimes we're partnering to work through some of these barriers and some of these obstacles that they are
Yeah.
destined to overcome, sometimes out of spite. They're pulling up all the grit and all of the things that they need to be successful, determined to do so with or without any help on their side. And it's really powerful to watch that, to see somebody go through that transformation of maybe being overwhelmed to taking control and owning their future, owning what they want to do professionally and making steps to get there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So I've got, I mean, and I know you already know this, but I have like a super like imaginative mind. So as you're talking, I don't know, I paint pictures in my head, and I'm fascinated, I'm fascinated with the idea of when we go through when we go through struggles, when we go through those turbulent times of like being actually in an arena, right? You think of a coliseum, you think of the old days like the gladiators, right? And when you're talking, I think about the um going down on one knee, or like in the arena, like you've just taken a serious blow. Maybe it's both knees, maybe you're just down, maybe you're just down in the sands, maybe you're on all fours, maybe you cannot breathe, right? You've got sweat, you're gasping for air, and you think in your head, you're like, I don't know if I can get back up. I don't know if I can do another round. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know if I have that in me. You're not to the point where you're like, I can't, but you're sitting there and you're seriously thinking about, I don't know if I have the moxie, the grit, whatever it might be, to get up and go for more, right?
Exactly.
Is this worth it? And you sit there and you're gasping for air, and then reinforcements come by and say, hey, you drop your shield over here. I got it. It's right here. And they reach down and they start to pick you up. Now you're on your knees. And then they put an arm over the shoulder and they lift you up even more. And then, all right, hey, what do you say we stand shoulder to shoulder when we go through this, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And you can then whisper in their ear, by the way, the opponent that you're currently facing, I faced them last month and they are beatable. You can defeat them.
Right.
So you're providing that voice saying, hey, I know
Yes.
you feel like you're down, but you definitely are not out. Been there, done that. What do you say we use that knowledge and that experience, and let's get to work, baby?
Exactly. And it's finding that motivation. And
Oh,
for me, something that we talk about a lot is the parenting, is about the next generation, is about setting the standard and being a good leader for your family. And
preach.
there's nothing more fierce on this planet than a parent, especially a mom, going out and doing whatever it takes to protect her kids and to make things better for them. And so that's been something that has been the motivator for some of my clients, for me personally, and I think for you as well. We've had some of those talks. It's really, um, it's really inspiring to see that. And once you can light that fire and dig into that motivation, people are unstoppable. It's
Oh,
just channeling that energy.
there is absolutely no question about, you said the being unstoppable. There is none, right? Because think about the motivating factor, right? Especially for the mother, right? That bond, like, hey, like that's my pack, those are my kids. Like there's nothing, there's nothing that I will not do
Yep.
for my family, for my children, right?
Yep.
I will go to war, I will go to battle for them, whatever it might be, right? And I think, to your point, that your group, the company that you own, supporting those individuals, getting them through those tough, joining them in that battle through those tough times, that, I mean, that's beautiful, because then on the other side, you get to do the crisp high five, right? You could do the, hey, you see the shit storm we just got through? Oh man, was that hard to navigate? It sure was, but we got through it, right? And now you're even stronger for whatever comes next, because we know there's another curveball and I'm right here. And that's, you know, this right here is exactly why I wanted to do Way of the Warrior, because it celebrates the idea, it celebrates the mentality that there's people out there like you that say, hey, we can do better. We can be better. I'm going to continuously be on that journey, but guess what? I'm going to provide a space. I'm going to provide something that helps you get there too. We're going
Mhm.
to get kicked. We're going to get knocked down. But I
Mhm.
guarantee you, when we get through it all, we're going to be able to look at each other and go, oh, we did
Mhm.
that together. Now what's next? Who else do we serve? Who else do we help? Right?
Absolutely.
And then it just grows from there.
Yes. So many clients I work with are stuck in this state of not enough and trying to add more and more and more when
Yeah.
really they have everything they need. to be successful. They are amazing in their own right. And they've just
Mm.
been beaten down by so many different things throughout their life, whether it was, a crummy relationship, a failed marriage, a boss who was a jerk, whatever it was, there was something that just got that message in their head and they can't get it out. And they're constantly fighting and beating their head against a wall trying to overcome it. And they can't see, the forest for the trees, that they already have what it takes. They already have what they need. They already know the voice within is going to do and tell them what to do, but they have a hard time listening it because there's so many other voices that are overshadowing it. So peeling back some of those layers and partnering with them, like you said, being that person that comes alongside them and says, hey, you already got this. You're already amazing. You just don't see it yet. Let's put some things into place so that you can feel better, so that you can feel that traction. And we just go.
Preach. Man, I love that. Like, so one of the things that I've experienced, in meeting you in person and through the conversations is there's a moxie, there's a strength about you and a power, if you will, to the point where you were just talking about they don't know that they have the power. You clearly understand that you have that power. You clearly understand how to use that power to the point where you're able to deliver through that power, you're able to deliver significantly for others. Can I ask, so looking at kind of going back to your past a little bit, has th- has that power always, have you always been in tune with that power? Is that something
Mhm.
that's been recent? Has it always, I mean, obviously it's always been there, but have you always been in touch with that? Or were there certain obstacles that kind of pulled that out of you up front that said, hey, nope, I'm tapping into this 24/7. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Wow. It's a really good question. So I was a little bit prepared for this. I think it's something that has been there, but I learned about it early. And it is something that um, I've been able to tap into and understand about myself since high school, to be honest. I think that's when it really started for me.
Love it.
Um, and it was one instance. If we're going to go into story hour here, I was a junior in high school and I went to a really small high school. I think we've talked about this. I went to a really small high school. There was one person that told me, you're being kind to people because you want to be homecoming queen. And I didn't have words at the time. I was real pissed off about it. And I just threw up two fingers and was like, nope, nope, that's not the case. I had enough college credits. I went to sat in front of the school board, and within a couple weeks, I was graduating at the end of my junior year, and I was out of there. I was like, I don't need these people. This isn't who I am. That's not who I am. If that's who you think I am, I'm out. I have better things to do, and I have better people to be around. And so that kind of was the beginning of my journey, walking away from, a lot of things happen your senior year that are like, so whatever, right? Especially for girls, like you have senior prom and homecoming and all of that stuff. And I was really involved. I did cheer and all kinds of things. And I was just, nope, I'm done. I don't need that. I don't need any of you. I'm I'm great in my own right. I know that I'm doing the right thing and I'm going to keep on going to what I'm destined to be towards. And I know that I've channeled that energy for a long time, and it's not that one person. Like that one person and that one comment didn't do it, but it was the spark that lit the flame
Yeah.
to keep it going. So that's the story, I think, and where it all kind of started. Since then, I've known that I have a work ethic that I can dig deep in. I've been to rock bottom. I've came back multiple times. So it's not that scary down there. You can rebuild, it's
Preach.
you bounce when you hit the bottom. It really does happen. Um, and it's fine. You start over and you make it work and you put in the work. It's nobody's gonna come rescue you. That's the other thing.
Preach. Oh,
Uh, Nobody's gonna rescue you. You got to do it for yourself, and you got to want it for you, or you got to want it for your family. Like we said, it's for me now after having kids. It's I need this to be better so that my girls can have better, and so that I can be that role model for them that they need, even though it means sacrificing time with them to build a business, even though it means, you know, whatever sacrifices need to be made to make it better for them. that's what I'm going to do because I'm their mom, but then also because I want this world to be better for them and for them to see that they can do all of these things with the hard work, with the sacrifice to, they aren't going to get handed a lot either. But they'll have that support that they need. I'll always be there for them, and just like
Yeah.
I'm for my clients. So
I think there's two things that I really want to hone in on here that really speak to me. And one of those is you bounce when you hit rock bottom, right? It's not
yeah,
splat, right? It's not
you
done.
bounce.
You bounce and you come back up and you're all right. Well, like it's like Mike Tyson said, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Hmm.
You can still get punched in the face and get knocked down. It's like, hey, you got to get back up. You bounce, right? You come back up, like,
Yep.
okay, wow, that was total shit. Like that was horrible. And
Hmm.
now I'm okay. Now I'm gonna collect my thoughts and I'm gonna figure out what next steps are.
Yep.
The other thing, so you said, bounce when you hit bounce when you hit rock bottom. The other one was you got to put in the work, right?
Hmm.
You have to be willing. And this goes off of I had a post the other day that I talked about not you're not born with greatness, right? You're born with the power within to be great, but you're not born with greatness, right?
Right.
And you have to be willing. There's shirts out there that say rents due, right? You've get the whole quote on success, right? Rents due on success. You have to constantly be putting in the work.
Yep.
What's amazing, what's so beautiful about the work is the results and the progress that you get to see, not at the end. I mean, that's beautiful too. But like you're in your yeah, I lost track of my mind. Oh, your legacy, your intact legacy when it's all said and done. That's awesome. But the work that you're putting in on the way through the journey, that
Yep.
is just, if not more, rewarding.
Right.
And when your children, or the people that you work with, when they come back and they say, hey, you don't know this, and I've never really talked about it a lot, but you changed my world. You impacted me in such a way that I changed course. I
Hmm.
found true north. I felt more aligned. I felt powerful, right? You ever sit like I can remember watching uh Easton play baseball, and it was a rough game, but at the end, pretty loud and cheering. At the end, it was just simply a hey, thank you. And that was it, right? That was it. Just thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for cheering. Just thank you. That right there, that says thank you says so much about what you've done, the work that you've put in simply by being there for somebody else, right? Think about how powerful it is when we go back and talk about, right, the sands of the arena, when we talk about being there when somebody feels like they're down, they're not out, but hey, I got you. I'm
Yep.
here. That
Yep.
in itself can change somebody's entire narrative just knowing that somebody's there for them.
And I think you've probably had the same experience too, in terms of maybe it's not even a client, maybe it's just somebody that is connected with you professionally or personally, and they just watch how you live your life and how what you're putting out there. I strive to just always be empowering and inspiring whatever I do, because that's what keeps me moving forward on those
Preach.
times when you aren't having the best day. I need to be the voice that I need to hear.
Oh, I
So
love
whatever's going to get me
yes,
through,
yes, yes.
I'm going to share that with somebody else. And I always, I write a lot on LinkedIn. I talk a lot about leadership, change, growth, development, continuous improvement, all of those sorts of things. And I'm always writing to myself, the things that I need to hear to keep moving forward and to keep
Yeah,
growing. And when you get those messages from people like, hey, like you've never talked to them before in real life, right? They're just like a follower. Um, but you get a message randomly, or even I've gotten a phone call before that says, hey, I've been seeing what you're doing. You're really inspiring me. I had a really bad day. Or those are the things that really keep that flame going on the times that you just like you can't anymore. That tells me that I'm doing the right thing. That tells me that my true north, like I'm going the right direction. And it's just simply by being me and living my authentic life. And what's powerful is bringing other people in and allowing them to live that authentic life. because they'll start inspiring others. It's that ripple effect that's really cool.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think, I will say this, that is one of that I would say the reason why I connected with you on LinkedIn or reached out was because of that right there, the authenticity, the originality, but more so the steadfast passion, like, hey, here is how you can lead. Here is how you can help others. And by the way, I deliver it in a powerful way
Mhm.
because
And
that
there's
makes
no
them
one right way. That's
absolutely.
that is the thing. So you and I we've talked about this before. We are polar opposites in terms of like our coaching style, our language,
Yep,
everything. But at the end of the day, we're all getting to the same point as far as empowering, inspiring, helping others to be their authentic self and to
yep.
really hone in on um, whatever gifts are within you to lead others. And you
Yes.
have to fit a framework. You don't have to be something you're not. You don't have to adopt some certain kind of language or talk a certain way or meet any certain criteria. It's there. You just got to get it out and figure out what that voice sounds like, and don't be afraid to speak up. So many people are afraid, they aren't aware of who they are to begin with, and then once they figure out and they have that self-awareness, they're afraid to just put it out in the world because they're afraid of rejection, because somewhere along the path, somewhere back in their story, they heard those voices, they were rejected time and time again, they've been just shut down, shut out, and that that haunts them. And you know, you just you have to eventually overcome it.
Mm,
Otherwise, what are you living for? What are you doing to help others?
yeah. And that right there, that's a perfect segue. Perfect. That's like a perfect segue as we wrap this up. Like, what are you doing to help others? Right? If if you really think about a vision, if you really think about a purpose, especially for a coach, especially for those that have decided the path is to help is to find a way to help others, that right there, that calling in itself, that's massive
Right.
because you have to be willing, you have to be there's got to be a bit of an ego death. You have to understand that this
Yeah.
isn't for you. This
Nope.
is for the people that you are willing to serve.
Right.
Andrea,
You cannot lead without humility, for
oh,
sure. Like that is the number one. If you aren't willing to admit that you're wrong, that this what you met me at my rock bottom. That wasn't great, but here I am now. I can I can be better.
yeah,
I've done worse. I can admit when I'm wrong. I can admit that there's a better way. Until you can do that, you're not going to be the kind of leader that people need. You
preach.
just won't. So
Absolutely.
sorry I interrupted your thought there,
No,
but
no, no.
taught
That's,
me
I
with
mean,
the humility
that's,
thing. It's so important. And so
that's,
many people are missing that.
oh, yeah. And that's 100% better than what I was going to say anyway. So well done.
Perfect.
No, but yeah, no, like you're absolutely right. That humility, yeah, that humility goes a long way. And when people can understand that you embrace that, they're
Mhm.
going to be more willing to talk to you, to open up to you, right? To say, "Hey, can I ask you about this?" Right? You genuinely seem approachable because of how you are in conversations with me, right? That humility is there versus, I don't know if I would have done it that way. The way I see it, this is probably how you should live your life, right? Nobody wants that. Nobody like deleted. So Andrea, I really appreciate this has been it's been an exciting conversation full of energy, as I knew it would be. But let me ask this. So as the audience is watching, there's people that are going to want to connect with you. They're going to want to add you to their roster. There's going to be people that are interested in utilizing you as a coach. How can they find you? What social media platforms are you on?
Absolutely. So you can find me most often on LinkedIn. So I'm there almost every day, responding to messages, things like that. But I'm also on Instagram, and then I do have a website as well. So any of those platforms work great. I guess I'm also on Facebook too. So whatever, you'll find me. I would love to connect with new friends and help anybody who has any needs as far as coaching or speaking.
Hell yeah. I absolutely love that. Oh, okay. So I'm so glad that you said this before I even close this out. So we kind of did it a little bit backwards, but that's okay because it's about the message. tell the talk a little bit about where you recently just got back from and why you
Yeah.
were there.
Yes. So I got a DM about a year ago in on LinkedIn, asking if I would speak at a conference in Germany, and I'd been to that part of Germany before, and I said, "Yeah, I would love to." And so I just got back from Germany about a month ago, and I spoke to an audience of just over 200 military spouses, and it was a phenomenal event. We talked about um, persistence beats progress beats perfection. And it was a
Preach.
super empowering message. There were people laughing, crying. There was a standing ovation. It was a lot. It filled my bucket, I hope, nearly as much as it filled the people in the audience. And it was so empowering and so enlightening to see just others light up. And then also for those hallway conversations afterwards.
Yeah.
So it was a great time. It was a really transformative time for me because
Mm.
I'm in a transition in my life. I shared that and just was very candid and raw and real on a stage and just felt so embraced by the audience afterwards. It was amazing. It was I can't even put into words the how amazing it was. So yeah, I was in Germany talking to Americans that work around the globe and that are developing professionally alongside most of them alongside their service member while they're serving the mission. So it's a really cool event.
That absolutely outstanding share, and I loved being able to follow that on social media, your journey as you were over there, speaking to those individuals, and then I think there was a picture. I'm pretty sure I think it was a picture where you were sitting down and your shoes were there, and you were just like, "Hey, this is
Right.
it." Like I can't remember if it was post or pre or post
It
event.
was right after.
Right,
So
that's it. Yes.
yeah, so I was the opening keynote for this whole conference, and they in the military when something goes really well, when you do something well, you're given a challenge coin. And so that's the picture of me
Yep.
that I got coined after my speech, which was really cool. It's the first time that I've ever received one, so it's quite an honor. And then so it's me, sitting at the foot of these mountains that are absolutely gorgeous, like kick back in one of these lawn chairs. The sun is shining. It is so beautiful. Just it's definitely not the peak of my career, but it's the peak thus far, right? Like we're
Yep.
gonna keep going. That's the whole point of this. We're gonna keep going. But that was a big moment for me to see that I've gotten that far just with grit, willpower, and just
Yeah.
determination. And it's going to be an exciting ride, I think, coming up in the next couple years. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm so glad that we took time and paused or before we concluded for you to be able to share that event, because it really speaks. You talked about grit, you talked about that tenacity, that perseverance, that push, right? Because you also hinted at previously, you're like, hey, look, like I'm going through things in my own world, right?
Right.
You can still go through those struggles, you can still be experiencing that and kick ass,
Hmm.
absolute ass, at events like this, at life, because you have that warrior, that power
Right.
within to do so. And audience, I hope that is the message that you take away from this whole entire episode, because that is what should truly resonate in your heart. So Andrea, I really, from the bottom of my heart, like, you're a dear friend, and I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here on Way of the Warrior. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks for having me. Love it. Anytime.
No problem. I definitely know there will be a round two. Audience, appreciate you being here for another episode. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
All
Later.
right.